Okay, so it looks like I'm live, perhaps. Let's just mute this. Strange. So, this stream is basically me preparing the RX78 master grade version 3.0, as you can see here on my desk. Let's see if we can get a better angle. There we go. And I've decided to do this stream because it is one of these incredibly rare opportunities where I have a house that doesn't have any children in, and that is like a zen, believe me. So let's have a look. Okay, here's the fully snapped RX78. As you can see, I think it's a wonderful kit. Although I would say that there's a couple of aspects of this kit which I find a bit annoying, and that is, hang on a sec. Come on. I just find that some of the parts are a little bit rattly and loose. Okay, so look at this. Okay, so this is the slidey part on the back of the shield, right? I don't think it should be doing that. I think it should have a little bit more tightness about it. But I mean, that can be fixed, just like anything. So what's likely going to happen is the paint that's applied to that will give it a little bit more grip, with any luck. So I'll tell you what I really like is on this shield, it has this kind of little slidey part here, so you can actually shut the window, and I think that is a wonderful little feature. Okay, so traditionally what I normally do is, when I've finished assembling a kit, I'm going to give it kind of once over and check over which parts I need to remove in order to paint it. And the first thing I'm going to do is all of the weapons. So I'm going to carefully remove all of the weapons here. That is a very cool looking bazooka. And let's just remove his rifle as well. There we go. Okay. Go over there. So the first parts I'm going to paint are this rifle, this bazooka, shield, and the core fighter. So let's see. Okay, just checking over now to see if there's any seam lines that I'm going to have to deal with before I start priming. Looks like there's one here, bottom of the handle, and another one here, bottom of this handle. Okay, always on handles. Why is that? Okay. Right, just bear with me one moment. Okay, that one there. I'm just going to copy this link. Just going to tweet out this video in case anybody is interested. I'm sort of planning to go for about half an hour or so, because that's generally how much time I have. So we'll see how that goes. Building, prepping the RX78 master grade. Come say hello. Can't spell that word. Here we go. Marvelous. Okay. All good. Right, so of course, first thing I'm going to have to do is take it apart. I've specifically left out, when I was assembling, some parts like this. I don't know how well you can see this. It's like an inner section of this kind of blast valve. I don't know what you call it, on the back of this bazooka. Just slots in here, like that. I'll specifically left that out because if I put this part in, it's going to be tricky to remove, and I don't really want to loose fit it, so I might as well just leave it out and paint it first, stick it in. So, okay, those parts are quite clear as to what's going on. Normally what I'll do is, it's quite straightforward, I just separate out all of the parts just into little piles so I know how I'm going to paint them. And the metallic parts are likely going to be base coated in enamel. That's if I want it really super shiny. It's not the most ideal base coat, and I know I should probably prime. In fact, I do have some stuff that you can use, which is this, not this black primer, it's called Gloss Black Base from Alclad. I sometimes use that. It's good for metallics. The only downside is I find that just a little bit dull when compared to enamel. And enamel is very good at self-leveling. So I like to use enamel for super shiny things, purely because it leaves such a beautiful surface to do metallics on. As long as you don't do it too much, because I don't think it works, say, if I did this whole shield with enamel, because you would see any sanding flaws that are on here left behind from, say, denubbing or something. So if I was going to do this all in enamel, I would give it another sand, like a sand over the whole piece, probably in varying grades, probably using like super fine sanding sponges like this. So let's keep taking apart this. Okay, I need to deal with this seam line, unfortunately. So I'm just going to do the standard method, and that's to glue the sucker together using extra thin. Tell me you're extra thin. So let's just take this one apart. Of course, being very careful. Very carefully. There we go. Okay. And what's the interesting part? Don't snap. Don't snap. There we go. Okay. Let's just move that there. Just filling with my windows. Bear with me a sec. Okay. There we go. Right, so. Oh, okay, we have a question. Are you doing a custom colours or original colours? I'm going to do, well, the plan is right now to do original colours. But it's going to be weathered, that's for sure. The fact is, I have never, well, I am yet to build an RX78 after all these years. So it would be nice just to have like an original looking RX78 on my shelf. And I've just realised you can look all the way through that. Let's see if we can get an angle there. Look at that. Hello. Rarely does a bazooka go all the way through. That's pretty impressive. Okay, so sheesh, how to take this apart without it snapping, because that's quite well in there. Guess I could get a poker in. Some really handy tools when you are disassembling stuff is a part separator. Very good. The only problem with this one is it's metal, so I have to be very, very careful when I use that. It's kind of, I have to just gently push it in, but not twist it, because if you twist it, you're going to damage the plastic. So be careful with these metal part separators. Also use one of these, this is really brutal, a kind of like a metallic pin. This, if like you've got like a panel that's on the front and it's attached to something on the back, I can use this to just gently push through from the other side. So, and again, you've got to be careful with that, because if you push it on a peg, it will split the peg and you won't be able to remove the part. So you have to be very careful when using these. I should probably get a plastic one of these. I used to use like a sculpting tool, plastic sculpting tool. They're very good because they're very soft and they're good for separating out plastic parts. So let's see now. I'm going to get this little part off here. This little different colour part. Don't know how successful this is going to be because I can't see it. Well, I guess it's not essential right now to get it out, but I was masking it off. Okay, I'll leave that for now. I'll come back to that. And I will do the seam line removal on this handle here. If I can separate out the front barrel as well. That should come out. There we go. All good. It's all good. Okay. So, what a strange mechanism. I can understand why it does it. It has this little pivot, very small pivot here, and I'm assuming that's just to facilitate the way in which the bazooka sits on the RX78 shoulder. So, how are we going to seam line remove that? We should quite straightforward. Okay, so let's separate this out a bit. Try not to twist it. Of course, when I assembled this, I didn't push down very hard on the pieces because, of course, I don't intend to make it permanent. So you very kind of loosely fit where you can. So why did I pick the 3.0 over the Origin version? Because I liked the look of the engineering, basically. I saw lots of other people's builds of this particular kit, and I really like the way that the armor separates out, and it's probably the same on the Origin version, but I don't know, this one in particular, I just like its design better. It has less of a barrel chest, so I stuck with this one. So let's have a look at this one then. Okay, I'm going to have to leave that part in. Of course, the unfortunate thing is when you do seam line removal, some parts have to be kind of locked into place when you glue it in, which is inevitable, but not really a massive problem, since I can just paint it, change its position, paint it again. It'll be good. Right, I'm going to go there and I'm going to glue here, here, all around here, from the back of the handle. It's quite upsetting. When you do seam line removal, sometimes there's a bit of detail along the seam line, say on here. I don't know how well you can see this. I apologise for the rubbish camera. but there's like a kind of tiny circle on the back of the handle, and I think that's might get flooded with glue, which is a shame, but I can live with that. We'll see how that goes. Cool. Oh, okay. I love the smell of glue, and that's really bad. It's like the smell of petrol. I don't know why, I just love the smell of petrol. I must have been, I don't know, processed in a factory or something. I don't know. Few nubs on my desk. Right. Let's just examine the mechanism, make sure I don't interrupt this mechanism when I do the seam line removal. Yeah, the annoying thing about this Tamiya extra thin cement is that it evaporates so quickly, so you have to be very quick. So, I mean, I would use the ordinary Tamiya cement over here, but because this part is so fine, I might end up flooding it and losing some detail, and that is never a good thing. So I'm going to just work as quickly as I can. I've just realised there's a little flippy part here that attaches into the hand, so I should probably remove that. Okay, let's go, 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 go. I'm going to work as quickly as I can. So bear with me if I'm a little bit quiet here. Just making sure that I get glue everywhere I need it. Put it on there. Okay, that'll be enough for now. Quickly sandwich it together. There we go. Good stuff. Good stuff. That went well. No disasters. No breakages. I'm just going to quickly clamp this down, just to ensure that there is a good bond. And I would generally leave this for a day or so. It's probably overkill, but it's better to be safe than sorry. And I just want to make sure that everything does what it's supposed to do. Once that's dry, I'll probably go over it again and a little bit more extra thin cement. Possibly give it a little bit of a sand just to buff it up. It does smell like nail polish, yes, and that is also a nice smell. Or it's disgusting, I don't know. Depends how weird you are. Right. That's seam line done. Let's deal with this one on the rifle. I've never liked the design of this rifle. I think it looks goofy, but it's kind of like it's a classic sort of thing, so it has its own charm. It's I don't know, it just looks very 1970s, like some kind of toy laser gun, but it'll do. I think I've got an inflatable version of this somewhere. It's one I'm reluctant to give to my children. Wow, that's a tiny piece. There we go. Okay. Well, that reminds me, where did I put that other bit? Let's not lose things. There it is. Okay. I'm going to leave that in there. It's always handy to have a little tray to keep your teeny tiny pieces in. I have the kind of focusy bit there for the rifle. Again, I didn't put this in because if I put it in, it's going to be permanent. So I've deliberately left it out. Yeah, it's pretty pungent. I mean, you can, if I just go over here, you can see I have quite a lot of Mr. Colour on the shelf, but I don't make a habit of sniffing it because that would make me some kind of junkie, I guess. So, of course, what helps is I've lost it. No, it's not. It's right here. What helps is to have the manual if you ever want to remind yourself how to disassemble it, follow it in reverse. There we go. Actually, it's a good idea to follow that when you are disassembling it, just in case, because I doubt anybody, unless you have super autism, you'll be able to remember it in reverse. So let's take this one apart. Okay, I did that bit, I did that bit. And let me do the back part there. Okay, let's do some better organization, because you can't change the world without tidying your room. There we go. There's the barrel. That's definitely going to be, that's going to need some masking. There's a lot of parts where you don't have to do any masking, obviously. There's an awful lot of panel separation on this kit, which is a bloody relief, because masking is a pain in the bottom. But it looks as though I'm going to have to do some masking on this barrel here, because I definitely want a few flavors of metallic here. In the tip's definitely going to be like a kind of a shiny silver. This connection part, maybe some copper, I guess, and maybe more of a steel in this part here. We'll see. We'll see. I have this problem that when I do painting as I go along, I sometimes make quite impulsive choices, and I think that's good in a way. Sometimes it's led to some happy accidents, and sometimes it's led to absolute disasters where I've had to strip the whole paint and start all over again. But I don't know, it's just something, it's kind of like a habit I've developed. Oh, this is a lot quicker than I expected it to be, actually, which is kind of good. Oh, okay, okay. I've realised that this part is actually in duplicate within the kit, and I wondered why there were two of them, and it's just a different colour. So I guess you could choose whether to have this light grey handle or a dark grey handle. So, but considering I'm painting it, I don't think it really matters. Oh, Story Prime. Hello, Story Prime. How are you? Hope you enjoyed your time at the GBWC. It looked like a lot of fun. Can I separate this out? Part separator, there we go. Right, let's see if we can do this without cocking it up. It's quite an unusual piece, this one. Here we go. Oh, it's so strange, I can't get used to the silence. Actual silence. It's very strange. Okay. Okay, so glue is going to go this side. I'm going to smoosh it on. General rule of thumb, when you're applying glue on here, obviously don't put too much on. But when you do put glue on to something where you're removing the seam line, squish it enough so there's like a tiny line of beads along it. It doesn't matter whether it seeps through a bit, you can always sand it down afterwards. So. Oh, excuse me, windy pops. Yes, I am going to be weathering this 3.0. Not sure how, not sure how much. I do enjoy making things look quite roughed up. Saying that, when I did it on the Sword Impulse, it was more like general wear and tear, but then it's been cleaned up afterwards. I think for this one, it's going to be full on, we're in the middle of a war style weathering. So it's going to be dirty, it's going to have chips. It's not going to be super roughed up, but just a little bit, just enough to make it look like it's been in a bit of a battle now and then. We'll see how it goes. Oh, I really want to try out doing some more streaking, because I've been trying out this chipping fluid from MIG, and I experimented on that first on the Sword Impulse, and I was really impressed by it. It makes really grimy, dirty streaks, which we enjoy a lot. So I'll definitely be using that again. The thing is, this one is I think it's medium chipping fluid. I'm sure it says that. What does it say on there? But you might be able to get a more finer chipping fluid. That would be better. We could always use hairspray. Though I have a little bit of trepidation about using hairspray, purely because I've not done it before. I'll have to experiment on some other kit first. So anyway, let's do the seam line removal here. Is there something that connects to that? Can I get away with just smooshing that together? One moment, please, while I refer to the instructions. H17, H18, that's good. I can smoosh that without having to take it apart again. Oh, it's that glue smell again. Yummy. Okay, put a bit too much on, but that's all right. Oh, wow. If I pass out on this stream, please tell my family that I love them and donate all of my Gunpla to Justin, because I like his beard. All right. I think that's enough. Lovely. We have a nice amount of beading going on. There's beading, yes. I think my clamps are getting a bit loose. They're getting a bit old, so the springs are not as taut as they used to be. Okay, that's good. Let's put another one. Let's do overkill. Let's smoosh it in every direction possible. There we go. Marvelous. Okay. Right. Okay, let's take that part off there. Let's have a bit of a think about how these are going to be painted. That's like an all internal part, so that should probably be done in enamels. Same as this kind of rocket ends. I don't even know what you call that. Rocket thrusters. That's going to be enameled. This kind of what does that look like? That's kind of like the underbarrel, like a gas canister. Let's not enamel that. Let's enamel the barrel. Let's not enamel that part. Not that one. Not that one, but definitely that one. No. Okay. Right, so. Oh yeah, I forgot about that bit. Yeah, this part. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put that part in. That's going to be a bugger to remove. No idea how I'm going to get this out. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, it's Alex. Hello, Alex. How are you doing? I did what you told me to, and I started a stream. How successful it's going, I don't know. Okay, we're separating that part out. Lovely. Oh, can I wedge this through? You're welcome to join, Alex, if you like. Okay. Sometimes it's hard to make a decision as to whether I should separate out a part for painting or not, since this is just like a tiny little dimple wedge thing. So there we go. Let's leave it in. Let's leave it in. We'll go with that. We'll go with that. Now for the shield. This is another really interesting part, really. I'm not sure what these little parts are on the back of the shield that point in. I'm sorry for the terrible lighting. Here we go. These parts here, what do they do? That's the question for you. Or is it a bit late, is it? No problem. Let's do those with an enamel base. Ooh, this is going to be a little bit tricky to remove. So I'm going to use my red hot poker method. I don't know why I called it red hot. Let's push this through. There we go. Obviously, if I'm pushing a part through from the other side, I've got to be careful not to stress the plastic. Otherwise you'll end up with some kind of weird blobby white marks. I guess that doesn't really matter too much if you're painting it. So, okay, there we go. This is a lot easier than I expected it to be, which is good. Kind of helps that I didn't really very firmly assemble this kit. Kind of left it a bit loose. That's a good thing. A bit loose goose. Oh, ooh, don't mind look at that. Because of the way that this is attached, as I put in the parts separator here, it's I thought that was going to snap. That would have pissed me off. Right, okay, this is good. This is coming off now. Come on. Come on. Oh, perfect. Good, good. This reminds me of Evangelion. There's a bit of animation that's better than the last episode. So, okay, we have some reds on here. I love the very slight tonal difference. It's kind of a bit more pastel-y than this kind of deeper, slightly purplish red. I should keep these separate also, just to make sure that when we do the painting that I do it in different shades of red. This whole kit is going to be pre-shaded. So pre-shade? Don't know, I might post-shade. Post-shading is much quicker, and I actually feel like I get better results when I post-shade than I pre-shade. So, ooh. Yeah. I have broken a part before and then passed it off as battle damage. It's rare that that happens, but when it does happen, it's kind of like a saving grace. Should I separate these parts out or just paint it as is always? Of course, there are some parts where it's good to separate them out to paint, but you're going to have to make sure you mask where they connect. Otherwise, it's going to be super stiff. So let's do that. It's good to do things as you go along rather than leaving it till later, because then you risk the possibility of missing it. Let's just do a quick judgment of how wide that is. Okay, going to get myself a little bit of masking tape. I'm going to make that a little bit thinner. That should be enough. There we go. Marvellous. I have a very tiny piece of masking tape that I'm just going to apply to this joint. There we go. Somebody recommended to me, and I thought it was actually quite a brilliant idea. So you can get these tiny rubber brushes, these rubber tipped brushes, and they're actually really handy for applying masking tape, because you don't have to use like a knife or a cocktail stick or something sharp and hard to push down the masking tape. You can use this nice soft rubber tipped brush. Obviously I don't need to do it here because it's not painted yet, but I'm doing it anyway out of pure habit. Plus it's good to, I don't know, minimize the chances of you damaging the plastic. So all good. There we go. That's now you're gonna have to squint to see it, but yeah, that's now protected. Is that going to be enameled? Decisions. Let's enamel it. Let's make that part super metallic, and let's make the connection not metallic, because we do like a bit of contrast. This one here as well. The handle for the shield. Again, where it connects, it's probably a good idea if that I'm gonna. Oh, actually, you can see it through the connection. Ooh. Do I mask that? Do I mask that? That's a good question. Or should I leave it in? No, let's be cheeky. Let's mask it off. If we use 2 of those, that should be enough. So as you can no doubt tell, it does take quite a while to just prepare a kit for painting. Some people go even further and they'll sand it down prior to painting, just to prepare the surface, make it a bit more porous. I don't think that's really necessary, especially if you're priming. I've recently started using polyurethane-based primers, a primer called Ultimate. And whereas it's probably not as strong as the sort of lacquer-based Alclad primer, it's got an incredible surface to it once you finish painting it. It's very, very smooth. And it makes for some very flawless paint jobs, but it's just not as strong. So it's kind of like you have to decide, I guess, while you're painting, what, you know, it depends on what kind of paint you're using as to what primer you're going to use. If I go with Alclad, I'll probably do 1 coat of Alclad and then sand it afterwards. Give it a good wet sand with a high grit paper, just to make sure the surface is very nice and smooth, because I do like a smooth surface. Okay, so that's metallic, so that's going to be enameled. This is like the connection piece. Let's leave that as a non-metallic. No Alclad in Korea. Oh my gosh, that's such a shame. That is a killer, actually. Well, I suppose you do have the added benefit of Gaia, which is the stuff that I can't get. But saying that, you are missing out on some spectacular metallics, especially the hologrammatic. Where is it? This one here. I absolutely love this paint. I always rave about it, and it's this holomatic spectral chrome, and this is the most prettiest metallic I've ever used. It's got this kind of iridescent quality to it. It shimmers in certain lights, and it's quite beautiful. And of course you have the other lacquer effects, like heating effects. And I have this I've used this a couple of times on thruster bells, and it's called Hot Metal Violet. And you just spray this. It's very, very thin, but you put a very light coat over the thruster bell, and it makes it look just slightly heated. It's really nice, really nice. I definitely rave about Alclad products. Oh, should I move this window part? That would be nice if it's in a different tone. So maybe I should pull this out as well. Yeah, there we go. Change the tone of that. Yeah, let's change the tone of that. Let's keep this nice and grouped. Right. Oh god, it's the core fighter. Right, okay. The only thing I don't like about this core fighter is this are these flappy wings. Because look, can you see that? They're just really flappy, really loose, and kind of a bit crap, really. I know, I know it's like a super tiny model, and it's you know, it's not going to be played with or anything, so I shouldn't really complain. But at the same time, I just, you know, it'd be just nice if it was just a little bit more stiff. So, okay, let's take these wheels off. I don't know why they did the wheels clear. It's an interesting choice. I'm going to paint this as kind of like a separate model to the RX78. This does actually fold up and fit inside here, but it also, the kit itself comes with a separate core, just in case you want to display this alongside that. So I might as well paint this up, make this look nice. It's worth noting too, I'm still waiting on some decals. I ordered some official Bandai ones from Hobby Search, so hopefully they'll arrive soon. Hopefully by the time I finish painting, that's for sure. Okay, so let's have a look at the core fighter and see how to reverse assemble. Is that a word? Reverse assemble. I suppose it would be disassemble. Obviously. Okay. Right. Okay. Wheels first. Oh, thanks for the heads up there, Alex. I'll try and adjust this. I don't want to move my head now. See what I'll do if I do that, because I'm not actually listening to anything. That should stop it from scraping on my shirt, hopefully. Sorry about that. Gosh, that comes right out. I finished building this quite a long time ago, so it's kind of gone from memory as to how we went together. Okay, right. No, this is quite straightforward. So I'm going to keep these wheels. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. They're not going to be metallic, so I guess I'll put them in this pile just to make them grey. Let's do designate it an inner frame style. Was that meant to do that? Don't think it was. I think this whole thing was supposed to come out. There we go. There we go. Here it comes. Yeah, that's an interesting mechanism. That I like the way that when you fold this part over, the tail fin gets pulled forward and then kind of goes back into the core fighter. It's very nicely engineered, although very fragile. Okay, so these parts are metallic. I think I can hear children. When they arrive, I will have to end the stream, unfortunately. Okay, so let's just read out some of the chat. An RG Unicorn on sale at Hobby Search. I'm not really feeling the RG Unicorn. To be honest, I much prefer master grades. It just seems to be my thing. I recently finished the HG Atlas Gundam, and I did it as a kind of a test to see how small I could go with my masking. And it turned out okay, but it was just so stressful. And yeah, I prefer nice big parts to deal with. So I don't know. I mean, if somebody gave me a real grade unicorn, yeah, that'd be awesome. But it's probably not something that I'm going to buy. That's for sure. But what I am going to buy is a PG Exia, much to the dismay of my bank account. But it's got to be done. I really, really like the lighting gimmick of the PG Exia. Plus, I really like the design. I think they've done a stellar job. It looks a little less athletic and more muscular. It's a weird thing to say, but I just prefer the PG aesthetic of the Exia. So yeah, I'm going to pre-order that. I'm just waiting for BanzaiHobby, who are an excellent store. You should definitely click their link below, which is probably in this video. They do excellent sales and lots of promotions, and they always have loads of stuff in stock. They're Japan-based. Give them a go if you like. That was not a paid presentation just there. That's just my own personal endorsement. So give it a bash. Especially if you're maybe in Europe or the UK, where it's quite hard to get hold of Gunpla at a reasonable price. It's definitely the case here. Okay, that's the nose cone off. Let's make a little blue pile over here. Okay, let's just go back in reverse again. I've taken that part out. Let's separate out the fin very carefully. Just doing a final check over just to make sure there's no seam lines missed. We are good. Let's keep that one separate from that one. Okay. Blue there. And oh, that's so weird, that silence. Okay, right, let's have a look at the other page. It's kind of strange because, like, sometimes you forget you're on a stream. So kind of you sometimes drift off, and just like I am now. Okay, that's that part. Do I really need to paint this tiny part, I wonder? Since it's going to be, since the core fighter is going to be displayed fully transformed in its core fighter form, there's probably no need to paint some of the inner parts, since I'm never going to see it. So okay, let's just keep that in there along with that, because that's another part that I don't want to get paint on. There's these tiny little tabs here that go into the handles of the weapons. I definitely do not want to paint these, because these are merely just to hold the weapons in place, and it would not be a good idea to get paint on that, because it will make it too thick and make it very sticky and difficult to get the weapon in. So I'm keeping those separate. I have like a separate tiny tray here of pieces that I'm not going to paint. So, we have a tiny Amaro. I never seem to get on well with painting these tiny figures, but I'm going to give it a go. What I normally do is I'll prime it in a nice smooth white primer, then coat it in Mr. Color bright white or something, and and then give it a panel line wash instead of like a normal way that I'd panel line it. Something like I've got this blue black panel line wash from MIG, which when I first used I wasn't very impressed with, but found out that it's pretty good on things that are very small. So definitely going to use that for this tiny ammo. I guess I have to keep that separate because it's going to be separately painted. Let's take this seat out here. Let's just do that in. Might be good to make that quite detailed. I don't know how much of the seat you actually see when the core fighter is done. My Fitbit's telling me I need to stand up, and I'm going to ignore it. There we go. Okay. White pieces. How did that connect to that? Hopefully easier. Oh, here we go. Okay. It was like that. So let's do that in reverse. Without snapping it. Let's prise it apart. Where's my part separator out there? I have this weird thing where I try to find something and it's always right in front of me. Maybe I am losing my mind. Who knows? There we go. There we go. Nearly there. Ooh, this is very fragile. Let's go with, okay, I've done that part, Okay, this now to take the rear booster covers off. Ooh, again, prising it very slowly. There we go. Excellent. Okay, what's next? Push these in. Oh, right, okay, now I need to get these thrusters out. Wow, this is going to be tricky. Wish I didn't cut my nails. If I wiggle it from side to side, hopefully it will come out. No, it's not coming. It's time for the poker. There we go. Marvelous. Okay, let's do that in enamel. Okay, now, oh, good. Now the wings and that are falling apart. That's a good thing. There we go. Excellent. That's been successful. Seems like ages ago that I built this. Right. That's for enameling. Red parts here. Gonna have to be careful when I paint this, I think, because there's quite a lot of exposed inside detail, and I don't want to make it too stiff. Sorry for the blowy noise. Okay, let's take this off. There we go. And the other wing. Oh, this is dodgy. There we go. Last thing I want to do is have something snap on me. There we go. Excellent. Right, now everything is separated out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to mount everything up onto some sticks. I have my coffee pot full of sticks. Oh, the canopy. Okay, that's going to be a separate. I have no idea how I'm going to do this canopy. I might mask off all these edges and then give it a nice black frame. That might actually Be a very difficult job, but it'd be very nice if I can do it. So I don't know, let's see if we can give that a go. It's always good to challenge yourself every time you do a build. Always push your skills as far as you can push them and try something new. Okay, let's move this. One of these boxes is absolutely essential, especially for work in progress stuff. They're so handy just for keeping everything nice and organized. Right, here is the box. It is nice. I have these things are so handy. You don't really see these anymore, but they're like packing foam blocks, and they kind of self-repair. So I've had the same 2 packing foam blocks for nearly 4 years, and they still last to this day. They're perfect for mounting parts on. Never let me down. So, okay, well, I can't do anything about the stuff where I'm doing the seam line removal in a minute. So I'm just going to leave those. Come back to them in a bit. I'm going to mount everything that is going to be enameled. Okay, you know, sometimes you'll get parts like this where there's absolutely nothing for your stick to grab onto. It's quite easy to get around that. You get a stick that doesn't have a clip on it, like this one. No clip. And then you just jam it in there. Easy. So next is this part here. Just observing, because I think I'm going to have to. I would like this back part to be black, but these actual backs of the rockets to be metallic silver, perhaps. I tried to get something that doesn't tonally match the kit, just to make it look as though, you know, these rockets are kind of standard issue rockets, and they're not specifically made for the RX78 sort of thing. So yeah, the tone of these won't match anything that's on the kit. Just to add, I don't know, tiny bit of realism, as much as a fictional 19-foot high robot is. Is it 19 feet or 19 meters? 19 meters, probably. Yeah. I digress. So let's mount that up. What time are we at? Oh, we're nearly at 5 o'clock. Wow. Which means I've gone on for twice as long as I anticipated. Okay, let's mount this up. Boom, boom, boom. That's done. Next one. See, I would do some streaming if when I'm painting. The only issue is you won't be able to hear me talking. Maybe that's not an issue. Maybe you're quite happy to sit there listen to talk about me. But I just feel like it wouldn't be all that interesting. Maybe I'll try at one point. We'll see how it goes. But I definitely want to do this kind of more regularly, because I like prattling on, talking to myself. Well, to other people, it look like I'm talking to myself. Okay, this one's a bit tricky because I have to grab it on a part that's not going to be exposed. I guess only the tip of that is exposed, so if I go right in there, I should be able to get away with that. Unless I do it from here. Oh, the decisions you have to make as a modeler. Let's just go with that one. Let's just go with that. That's the normal response to trying to make a decision when you're modeling. Just go with that. So now I'm double thinking. No, that'll be fine. And the little vents here for the core fighter, all good. And one more here. Smashing. Right, so okay, so I think I'm going to call it a day here. I'm going to carry on mounting these up. Tomorrow it's priming time, and I have to sand these parts down where I've done the seam line removal. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Okay, bye bye.